What is up, guys? Welcome back. Today we are going to be replacing the headlights in the grille and the hood. Going to be replacing the headlights with these projector style single piece headlights. This is all one piece, as opposed to how these are two separate pieces. And we got our new grille here to replace this broken one. Now this is part 2 of the wrecked series. If you didn't see part 1, here's a little recap of what happened and why we're doing this. Somebody backed up into my car. It's not that bad, but it's not good. Looks like everything's good except the headlight and the grille and the bumper and the hood. I wanted to replace the headlights at some point anyway. These are cool, but I like those projector ones, so I'll probably do that. Even under these circumstances, you just cannot be upset when you see this. Check it out. It's like Christmas. I love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and open everything up and show you what I got. New mesh grill. It's just plastic, but they look good. LED projector headlights. I've heard that these bulbs are not very bright, so I'm probably going to end up changing those for some better ones. Nice new zinc coated hinges, just in case the old ones were bent. Instructions and extra hardware and brackets for the headlights. In the first episode, we spent most of our time repainting the new hood, which did not go according to plan. Watch that video to see how that went. But we're going to be putting it on anyway, so that we don't damage anything else, because we got some bends and some kinks in this still. I kind of hammered it out as good as I could, but it is not perfect still, so we're going to swap it out for the other hood. Now, these new headlights do require a small amount of wiring. When it comes to wiring, I am challenged, I'll say. I am not good at it. I'm not comfortable with it. But this looks pretty simple and straightforward, so we'll try and figure it out. So I guess let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it and start getting these old parts off of the car. There we have it. Everything is out. This here is the entirety of the instructions for these. And I don't know enough to make sense of any of this. And it's not very descriptive. So I'm going to go to old YouTube University real quick. There's a couple videos that'll give me a little bit better idea if I can actually see somebody else doing it. See what I have to do, and then we'll get to it. So the very first step is actually to get these brackets on the car so that the new headlight design can mount to this bracket. I'm just going to go ahead and plug these up as they are for now, just to see what we got going on here, see if everything works. Low beams work. And high beams work. But I hate these incandescent halogen yellow lights, so definitely swapping these out for LEDs, because the halo rings and all these little ones and my corner lights are all LED with that white light, and I hate having two different colored lights in the same housing. So, but at least we know that these work. All the extra wiring that needs done is for these little LEDs here and for the halo lights to work. So I technically could just run it like this and function normally, but that's kind of the whole point of these, is I want all these little LEDs and the halo rings to work. So guess I'm going to try my hand at some wiring. Alright, this is some of the extra stuff that did not come with the kit that I had to pick up. Well, I already had wire strippers, but you're going to need some extra wire. I got some connectors and electrical tape. Alright, so what I'm going to attempt to do here, these are the halo ring wires, and these are for these three little LEDs. I think that's what it looks like. It's where everything's connected to. So what I'm going to do is connect the blacks together, which is your grounds. I'm going to connect these to each other facing the same direction. Not like this, but like this. Same thing to the white, which is our power. Now again, wiring is not my thing, so I may be doing certain things wrong, but this is the way I've seen it done with the research that I have done. And now these basically are one wire. You may want to do them differently, but I want the halo rings and the little LEDs to all come on at the same time with the running lights and not the headlights. And the headlights will operate separately. So being that I want the halos and the LEDs to operate together, that is why I'm connecting the wires. And then we'll splice these into the corner lights, the running lights, on the car's harness. While I'm in here, while it's all out of the car still, I want to see if the bulbs I have will fit these. Yeah, it looks like these are H1s, because you can see it's almost a full circle and it just has that one flat edge. And it also says H1, so that's always a good clue. So I don't think mine will fit, because mine are 9005s. So I will figure this out another time. I'm going to use a little bit of our extra wire here. Measure out how much you need depending on where your stuff is, but I don't need that much because the harness for the running lights plugs right into this, so we don't have to go too much farther for these to reach it. They're plenty long enough. I'm going about 4 or 5 inches here. Probably don't even need that much. And I'm going to connect this to these just to really make it one connection. Well, I forgot to put the connector on. I thought it would slide over this, but it doesn't. That should do. And now, this being the power, we now have one power and one ground. And then we connect these directly to the plug in the car using these quick connectors. You'll put this wire in here like this, and then you'll slide this over the power wire on the plug in the car. Push this little thing down. That'll kind of cut into both wires, connecting them to each other. And then flip this little clip thing over. I'm not going to push it down all the way yet. And then I'm probably going to wrap that in electrical tape as well. Better safe than sorry. So to find which wire the power is running to, I have the running lights turned on right now. So we know it's on. Pop my bulb out. You can see up here there's a white wire and a green wire. White wire running to this side, green running to this side. What I'm doing here with my multimeter is putting the positive onto the green wire. And then when I touch my ground to the negative terminal on my battery up here, you can see I get 12 volts off the battery, on the battery. And if I turn the key off, that number drops back down to 0, meaning it is not getting any power. And if I move this over to the white and touch it to my battery, nothing. No power. So that's my ground. So that tells me that my green wire is my power source. I'm just gonna throw this thing up in here just to see if everything works. So I'm very carefully gonna try and remove some of this shielding up here. There. Separate these. Green was power. Here, my power is my white. Be sure to turn your car off, turn the power back off, maybe even disconnect the battery before this step, because we are about to be cutting into a live wire. So we want that off. You can see I pressed that blade down inside, and then you flip this clip over. Now I do the same thing with our ground wire. You don't want to squeeze too tight. Remember, these are just little plastic things. Just squeeze it until that blade is all the way in. And then flip your clips. Now I probably should have moved these back a little farther away from this here. We don't have much room to work with, but should still work. All right, I got everything hooked up and it's just sitting up in place. I'm gonna go ahead and cycle through all the lights and we'll see if it works. There you have it. Looks pretty good. I still need to change out the main headlights and high beams for LEDs, like I said. Another problem that I noticed, not really a problem, but more of a mistake that I made. On these connections that I made here, I should have made these the disconnectable connectors, because I just realized now if I need to pull the headlight housing out, even if I unplug everything, these are still connected. So I'm gonna switch those out for the disconnectable type of connectors. So these are what you actually want to use. These, they're called disconnects, not these butt connectors, because you cannot get these apart. So we're going to use these disconnects, that way we can actually unplug our headlights if we need to. The process is the same. And there we have it. Basically the same process. These are the ends that'll get spliced into the plug on the car, just like we did before, except with these connectors, if we need to remove the headlights for any reason, we can actually just unplug them and plug them back in. As opposed to how I did the other side, they need to be cut off, and I'm going to replace it with these. I went ahead and taped up all my wiring just to sort of keep things organized and a little bit extra protection. I cut those butt connectors off, and now I'm just going to replace it with our disconnects. All right, so I got all these guys connected and taped up. One thing I will mention, you should definitely use different color wires, because one of these is power, one of these is ground. So I would recommend using like this one black, this one red, or match what they have from the factory and make this one green, this one white or black. But I can still see in there and see which is which. So now that these are all hooked up and ready to go, let me show you the bulbs that I got. These are the Fahren Forschers. They're a good budget-friendly option. They're $40 a pair, which for a decent LED, that's pretty good. I got them on Amazon. They have really good reviews, and this brand, Fahren, is pretty highly rated. So let's check them out. Nice packaging. Something that is really cool about these is they actually come with some extra goodies. There's some electrical tape in here. That's always useful. In here, there's some instructions and zip ties to tie your wires up, and these little sticky pads to mount these drivers. Now, I will recommend, if you can find some that have the single post connectors, like how these have these two wires. Most H1 LEDs are going to have these, but these headlight housings are set up for bulbs with these single posts, so that'll just make your life a whole lot easier. I'm going to have to do a little extra wiring to get these hooked up. Also, try and find you one without this whole extra driver system, because there's not a whole lot of room in these housings either. Again, they're just set up for just a single bulb with none of this extra stuff. So let me show you how I'm hooking them up. So the first thing that needs done to make these fit is I have to cut these little parts off of these retaining clips. Because of how much bigger these LEDs are, they don't fit. So I'm going to just snip these off. Now that one's in there. Now we gotta wire them up and make everything fit correctly. We definitely want to be able to get our dust boot back on here. Now I will say this again, wiring is not my specialty. So there may be better ways to do this, but what I found works, since these are smaller connectors than these, I'm just gonna cut these off and wire on some of these smaller ones that'll hook up to this. The reason I was saying to try and find some that don't have this whole big external driver system is it will not fit inside here in any way. So what I did about that is I'm going to cut a slit in it big enough to squeeze this driver through here. So as you can see, these barely even fit in there. That's the fan right there. And having to do all that. That's why I recommended, if you can find the single post and the ones without all this crap, definitely do that. It'll make your life a whole lot easier. Now we can just hook these straight together. And remember, blue to red, power to power. Definitely going to tape these up. Should have got the insulated ones like this, but I didn't. So just going to tape them up really good. So with these taped up separately, obviously, so that they do not touch each other, I'm then going to tape everything together just to keep everything a little cleaner and more organized, easier to work with. So just do the exact same process for the high beams that we just did for the low beams, because we're just cutting this thing off and then putting these guys on. The only real difference with this side is with how far recessed inside the housing this bulb is. It makes it really difficult to get this clip on around this, because like I said, these are not designed for the bulbs with these big fans and stuff that get in the way. What I did, put the clip in, and then I bend these little tabs down. They bend very easily. That's just to sort of lock that clip in there, because it'll try and fall out every time you touch it if you don't do this. Now that'll stay in there. What I've found helps to be able to get in there is to actually pull this off of here. Then you got another little window inside to be able to reach that clip and maneuver it into place. And that is an extremely annoying and stressful process. So do yourself the favor and get a different kind of bulb. I just went with these because, again, very budget friendly. $40. You really cannot beat that for a brand that I know is going to work and that I trust. So this is what I ended up with. We got our high beam, low beam, and this is our corner lights and the little LEDs and the halo rings. So everything's ready to hook up. Now, another thing, these sticky pads will not hold. So just know that going in. Figure out a different solution or let them dangle. What I am going to do is tape up as much as I can of these dust covers, because you don't want this stuff just open to the elements. So I was freaking out because everything worked except the high beams. I couldn't figure out what was going on there. But what had happened was their harness that they sent that connects the car to your headlights, they have them backwards. When I hooked the red to the red and the black to the black, they did not work. Hook the red to the black and the black to the red backwards, and it works. So they just have their connection backwards up here. So just know that. And then it's ready to put them in the car. Alright, here we are. So what I do with these to make a little extra room, run them up under this section, because when this wire is trying to squeeze through here, the housing hits it and kind of blocks it. It's very tight through this area. I run it down here and pull it around this way. I'm gonna get everything plugged up, make sure all my wires are routed out of the way and in a good spot. And just so you can see what we're trying to do here, there's this little clip right here. That's gonna hook onto this thing. That kind of latches in to that. And then these little pegs are going to go into that bracket that we put on here. Mine was missing one of these little black pieces. I have a couple of these laying around, so I'm going to find one that'll fit into that hole that this little peg will sit a little nicer in. Perfect fit. And once you have everything lined up and routed how you want it, what you want to do, start back here and get that situated in there first, and then rotate the front in. And you'll watch those pegs, make sure they go in the holes, and then you'll get that little clip on the bottom in there too. But you don't want this side to pop out, so you get that all the way in first. There we have it. Everything's locked in and clipped in place. By the way, I super glued these on just so they'll actually hold. You might want to route this one a little differently. There's not a whole lot of room there. This is a good spot for this one though. What I did on this side is put that one in the same spot, and instead of having that other one right here, I got it tucked down there on the side. But the way the wires were facing, this one wouldn't reach this side. And don't forget your bolts up here on top. I'm not cranking down super hard on this because this is just some cheap little plastic. So just snug it up so it doesn't move, but you don't want to crack it. Don't forget to properly align these so you're not blinding people on the road. Now it's time to get the grill back on. This one didn't come with it, but there should be, this one's broken, so don't pay attention to that. But these little clips go in here and they help hold it. This one will kind of help, so I'm going to stick it back in there. You can probably get some more of these at an auto parts store for a couple bucks. But then these clips go into these brackets on the headlights, and you just screw it all back down. Also, if your grill did not come with them like mine on your old headlights, you're going to need these. Unclip them from the back, pull them out, and clip it into your new headlights. They come out and go in very easily. And there we have it. I know I said I was going to put the hood on in this video too, but I think I'm going to skip that. I might do a part 3 for that just because I'm so unhappy with the way it turned out. I don't even want to put it on until I fix it. So if you want to see how terrible that was, go watch part 1. If you want to see me put it on, stick around for part 3. But I got these things on. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's not a whole lot of videos showing how to actually install these headlights on this car. So hopefully I could help somebody, because it was a little tricky. If you have any more questions about it, feel free to ask me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe. I'm always doing a bunch of crap to this car. But for now, I think that's it. See you guys next time. Peace.